Luca Nation, your collectible episode before the opening bell. Oh, it's the Fractional Report before opening bell, brought to you by Collectable. My
You
apologies.
nailed it, man. Nailed it. And brought to you on location here with a cigar and a 2-liter. Lots of fun. We're having some fun
Last
here.
year you were on a balcony. Now you have like a whole house behind you.
Yeah, man, moving up in the world. I'd like to say it's from our collectible portfolio making moves this week, but we did not trade anything this week. The liquidity is something we definitely want to talk about. It's one of those things where, we can have, Ezra come in, maybe do kind of like a quarterly report on the things that they're doing to maybe increase liquidity on the platform. One of the things I suggested was have some trumpets playing in the background, get people in the mood. So hopefully you enjoy that during the episode here. But yeah, one of those things, I purchased some stuff. You guys, you can take a look at last week. I posted a picture of it. I did not trade this week. There were no, opportunities in any of the items I bought. Part of my strategy on it was, this Mickey Mantle sale, and maybe the turn to vintage. Maybe people looking at Hank Aaron, maybe looking at Roberto Clemente. I was a little late to the party on the mantles. The mantle 7 and 8 had already moved up a little bit. Mine is kind of an ancillary play on that, but you'll notice that we still own exactly the same shares. A portfolio $30 or something during the week. There was one trade in Mahomes, I think, that caused that.
So while we do that, Cage, how's your internet right now? A little bit iffy. I'll go through the data when you're back.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm back.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Basically, it was just saying that, there really wasn't much opportunity to trade, not much liquidity on the platform. I'm hoping that, the mantle craziness from, ending auctions this weekend, changes that. Obviously it's setting a record. There's a lot of vintage cards, a lot of high-end stuff on Collectibles platform. I will mention something that is relevant for you fractional fans out there. I know a lot of people listen to this who might not listen to our other episodes. I noticed, I think it's on a mantle, believe it or not. I think it's on a mantle. Rally is doing the first fractional stock split. And I think that is a way to potentially increase liquidity as well. I don't think Collectible has done it yet, but I try to read up on what's going on in the fractional space just so that I, can be as informed and inform you guys. But one of the mantle cards that they have on their platform, I think they're doing a 10-to-1 share split. And, the thought there is that everybody who owns one share will now have 10. Everybody who owns 10 shares will now have 100. The price comes down, and those stock splits usually do increase liquidity a little bit. Something like that, may work, in the short term. A lot of the items on Collectible, they have pretty low share prices already to begin with. $2, $3. Good. Shoot.
Something I would do. I don't know if this is compliant, because what makes fractional difficult is they're regulated, and when you're regulated, you play by different rules. Like, I don't think you could market or advertise the same way, for example. But depending on the duration of holding something, Cage is at Disney World, but it's actually really just like a replica of Saw is what I'm picturing now. Disney World.
Oh man, you should see a kid wants a churro, and I just saw mom say no.
And that's the sound?
No, and the kid was like flipping out, wanted a churro.
Swirling.
Blood curdling.
That's how you teach the kid. Swirling.
Blood curdling scream. Yeah, and his mom is now giving the kid a churro. Mom is now giving. So that worked. Meanwhile, if mom doesn't take the churro and smash it over the kid, I'm just playing.
Maybe. What kind of behavior?
What are you reinforcing here? What are you doing? Come on, Mom.
That reminds me of literally every one of our old contractors, the people that used to work with us. I'm the blood curdling screamer though in that scenario. They're the ones giving me the churro. Duration of holding an asset, you get like tokens or bonus points, and at events at National or Mint, you get access to do stuff. Or hey, you get collectible gear or appearances with athletes. Tie in holding, duration, and trading to like. I know it's very NFT-esque, but I'm wondering if they could do that to incentivize either collectors or day traders with either showing up at events or access or collectible gear.
Interesting stuff to talk about. I mean, it is what it is. By the way, one of the items that's in the down 3 is one of the ones from our portfolio, the Mahomes.
Yeah. Can
Down
I tell you
30.
what I think happened?
Please. Yep.
So Jesse talked about that. Like, how many times has the card changed hands, right?
Yep.
So it's actually interesting to think about from that perspective, right? Like, we on Collectable want to be in assets that don't change hands very often. And the question is why? Well, the less something changes hands, in theory, the more valuable it is, not in price, but the more desirable it is. For example, Cage has lots of $100 bills in his pocket. How
Yep.
many people do you think have touched that $100 bill? Thousands. And as a
Yeah.
result, it doesn't feel very valuable because you know you could give it and get it right back.
True.
So the Mahomes card is a card that I think has changed hands more than we've seen any other top player recently because he had that run up, right?
Yep. Yep.
And in this last year and a half, I think it's been kind of like a consolidation. People who bought in early taking profits, new collectors coming in, and then you add to that, Cage. Well, January to now there's no football. If you're not in the
Correct.
Super Bowl, there's nothing. So his sell-off has been, in my opinion, a supply run and
Yep.
no news. And
And no action.
I think when we come into season, people who are selling are going to be like, what am I doing here? He's still the best quarterback. He's still the best of all the bunch that's coming up next. And most of the people have already sold. So I actually expect a significant bump up in his like index.
So that card, I can tell you exactly. Andrew's 100% right. It's exactly what my thought was on the card. The last 8-5, and we're talking about the National Treasures RPA BGS 8-5 out of 99. Last one sold in February. So just like you said, hasn't been much going on. Since January, February, not much going on, not much deal on that, and no football. But now the football's coming. Now he's going to start lightening up again. He's going to start doing Mahomes things. That one in February sold for $93,000. And the last, the Mahomes here on Collectable is currently trading at 51.5, significantly below what that one was trading at. So, I mean, just real interesting stuff, let me tell you. I mean, that was down second most. The most down card was, piece of memorabilia is Kobe Bryant, 16, Game 1, Black History Month sneakers photo matched, down 39%. We've talked about this a bunch of times. The sneakers, the Game 1 memorabilia, they're up, they're down, it sounds like a huge swing, but it's a couple shares here and there get traded, and it moves these things in large amounts. Same thing, actually, believe it or not, with that Mahomes. And the last one is the Corey Seager, the 2012 Bowman Chrome Orange. The
Rangers,
basket,
right, Cage?
Yeah.
Cardboard irrelevant at this point.
We talked about that when he got traded. It definitely was better for him to be on the Dodgers. He signed a big deal. It was good for him, but not so much for his cards. On the upside, we talked about the Ovechkin 05 the Cup last week, and that is one of the 3 high up 137%. There was one item higher than that, and it's weird. It's another one of those things. Maybe someone's looking to get a position in this card and maybe try to buy it out because it's not a lot of them. Maybe it's he's been playing all right in high A ball, but it's a little confusing to me. The Jason Dominguez 20 Bowman Orange Refractor BGS 9.5 numbered out of 25 was up almost 150% this week. There was a sale of this in Alt's liquid auction in June. So not that long ago, but obviously it's a different auction now in Alt. That was still when you needed to have your money in there. Right. But that one sold for $12,300, and the market cap on this one after this week's run-up is $35,000. 3 times that sale in June. It's a little high, so it's a little odd. I know he's starting to turn it around and play a little better in high A, but still, that one it's a little surprising to me, that price.
We should be able to short. We should be able to short the market on Collectable. Make it happen, guys. That will add a little liquidity. You'll bring in the Bears and the Bulls. Will be competitive. Because right now you could really only take long positions, right? But if you have short, they're borrowing shares. There's less float. Then it gets interesting. Then we got the GameStop short squeeze on these people. I would short that stock.
Is it too late to get in on the mantles? You know me, I'm a contrarian play, right? I would have loved to have gotten in on the Mantle 8 when it was trading in the 1-1s. I would have loved to have gotten in on the PSA 7 when it was in the 2s. Obviously, I think everyone had the same idea that we talked about on this show to get in on those mantles. We didn't get in ourselves because we didn't have our fund in yet. But is this one of those zigzag type of things, right? Everyone's watching the Heritage auction. Everybody's watching that one. You know, it's going to set a record. The PSA 8's at 1.3, and the PSA 7's at $327,000 already. You know, I think most folks are expecting those to go up. Is this a case where people bought them a couple weeks ago just specifically to sell them on Monday morning, and you're going to have more people looking to sell than buy, and they can't sell, and then they start to look out? Might we see the reverse? Might we see a buying opportunity if that immediate wow Monday morning buy isn't there? You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on that, man?
So I think high end's due for a correction in general. Like, Cage, you bought your mantle 18 months ago or 24 months ago, and it's gone up 5 or 6x since that time. Look at him. He's talking to the kid with the churro. It's gone up.
Security just came over. I thought they were going to tell me to stop smoking or something, but
They don't care.
he didn't. He just said, "Hey, how you doing today?" I said, "Hey, I'm doing good."
I'm creating content. What do you mean? I'm doing fantastic. Back-to-back episodes. No, here's what I think. I think high end's due for a correction, and I think there's a lot of participants in the market, but I would wait on the sidelines for things to correct and then have cash available. So what I mean is, I'll use my Jordan analysis. Like, I would say, if you average it out, the PSA 10 price of all the Jordans that are hitting the market is like $55. But sometimes they end at $30 as a comp, right? And if you're able to spot those, now you bought in at 60%, 55, 65, and you have a good entry. So I think the same thing is going to happen with the high-end market. I think as these auctions play out in the next 4 months, some things will end well, but some things will fall flat. And when they fall flat, I think there's going to be a correction on collectible, and you could use other people's exit as a nice entry. That's how I would play it in this collectible application. So I don't think Mantle has corrected. I think Mantle has just been up.
I mean, the only counterpoint that I would make on it is I don't know when Mantle has ever corrected. You know what I mean? I don't
know when Mantle's ever gone 5x in 2 years.
But I mean, 5x in 2 years by comparison. At the same time, if you move,
can't do that. You can't move the goalpost.
But it is.
I don't know when Mantle ever corrected, and then I'm like, well, I don't know when Mantle ever went up 5x, and you're like, well, everything went up 5x.
No, but Mantles, when there are record prices, the cards usually go up, and I guess the difference is right. Like, you know, we talked in yesterday's episode about the Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome rookie card in PSA 10 and how that one ran from, you know, a couple $1,000 to $30,000, and now it's back down to, you know, 5 or 6 or whatever it's at for. Mantle didn't do that. That's the difference, right? It doesn't have to correct the same way that some of these other cards did, right? It's not a Giannis base that went up to $7,000. It's not a Luka Silver that went up to almost 10,000 or maybe more, whatever that was at its peak. Like Mantle, you know, 2 years ago, yes, let's just call it a PSA 5, hypothetically, right? Was $55,000, and now it's 200 or 170 or whatever it is. It's a 5x overall over 2 years, right? That's, you know, that's a 1.5x or a 2x, and then followed by another 1x, 1.5. I mean, 1.5, 2x. That's not a huge thing year over year. You know, that's not 10x in you know, in a very short period like some of the modern cards did. Sure, you would be thrilled to be able to tell somebody, you go walk into a bank and say, I'm going to give you 50 grand in 2 years from now. I want you to give me 250. Anyone would take that. Clearly that's a run up that you don't expect. But when you compare that type of a run up to, you know, some of the other things we've seen over that same time period, can it correct? Sure.
I don't think your comparison is to the right thing.
What should I compare it to?
I think you should compare it back to previous performance. So like the Luka went up 10x. Previously, the highest it ever went up was 2x. The Mantle went up 5x, but the previous high over a 12-month period might have been 50%, is like a huge jump. So the ratio between does that make more sense? Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. It definitely does. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I guess what'll happen is we'll see, right? We'll see.
I think it's due. I literally think it's due for a correction, because I think we need to strip away. Like, yes, I agree it's a desirable asset, but it's not the most rare card either in the lower grades. The creator, look at her.
Huh?
The manager just came to our room.
Okay. Okay.
He just said to stop.
So we'll stop. Okay, thanks. I guess I gotta stop smoking.
The kids can't handle anything. That's
All right.
live on the air.
Bye.
I
And
mean, it is what it is. So there you go. I got to stop smoking my cigar, guys. It is what it is. Yeah, here you
did
go.
you tell him how much you pay for the service to smoke?
I
But
mean, what can you do? What can you do, guys? You can't even enjoy your vacation.
no one's getting into a-hole. You're an
No one's
a-hole.
getting into a-hole. I'm an a-hole here.
Dude,
Well, guys,
you finished smoking the cigar anyway.
yeah, it's done. It's finished.
But
It's all
now
done.
you're going to have it in the back of your head. Can you smoke tomorrow?
I'm going to be angry now. I'm going to be angry. I'm not coming here ever again.
Nobody puts
I'm
baby
the
in the
asshole.
corner.
I'm the asshole. I would never eat
Nobody
here.
puts baby in the corner.
I would never eat here. I would never eat here. I would never eat here.
good-
What can you do?
Cage gets Uber Eats delivered to his timeshare.
I do. Several times during the week, several times. But yeah, look, it is what it is. You know, I mean, you know, stuff happens.
He's a
But
nice
guys, what
guy
do you see?
instead of telling you on camera not to
He was here. He could have said something. He went to
No.
the room. He went to the front door. I mean, it's bother the kids. They're watching cartoons or whatever it is they're doing in there. Now, you know,
He
now
said to put out the cigar.
they put it out. You gotta stop smoking.
Leah.
The manager came. All right, whatever. It is what it
Deny
is.
till you die. What cigar are you talking about? My dad doesn't
Nah, dude.
smoke.
There's cameras everywhere.
My
I
dad
know.
has never laid any smoke on his lips. That's what Leah needs to say. Anyway, okay. So I think Mantle's due for a correction. Cage doesn't. Cage would not buy jersey number. I would. You guys decide to listen.
No, but listen. But more importantly, right? I mean, let's. There are a lot of big cards coming up for auction, right? If you guys haven't listened to our episode with Jesse Craig, right? And one of the things that we talked about for PWCC, one of the things we talked about there was that things continue to come up for auction. Things come up for auction. I guess one of the interesting things that I'd be looking out for is, you know, when this SGC 9.5 Mantle sells, right? And it sets a record and it's all over the news Monday morning. You know, you open up, you're commuting to work, it's on Yahoo, it's all over the place, and it sells for, you know, the crazy amount that it sells for. What's gonna happen on that, right? Does an 8 materialize? Because it's been a little while since an 8 came up for sale. And if you go back to the beginning of last year, there were a bunch of 8s that sold. Golden had a few of them sell in, you know, every couple of months because the Rob G Mantle 9 sold and it set a new high water mark at $5.2 million, and all of a sudden everybody was like, wow, if that's 5.2, what are these worth? And I think an 8 sold for over 2, and then another one sold for in the ones, then it sold for less than that, then one of them sold I think for slightly under $1 million, and you know, then a couple of them sold and went up a little bit more. It's the same exact thing we talk about, right? Where you know, a new price is set, supply kind of comes out of the woodwork, and then new floors are set for these things. I'm wondering if that happens again. I'm wondering if a 9 comes up. I'm wondering if, you know, after a 9.5 sells, I wonder if somebody sells a 9, or I'm wondering if an 8 sells, and then you have a more direct comp and what kind of impact that may have on the market here. Because right now, your collectible 8 is at 1.3. You know, if an 8 materializes after this 9.5 sale, and we haven't seen an 8 sell for a while, we haven't seen a 9 sell for a long time, maybe the 8, maybe there's a bidding war, maybe an 8 sells for 2 or 2.1, all of a sudden this 1.3 becomes, you know, quote unquote, a bargain, $1.3 million bargain. That's the interesting thing, right? Because, you know, we talk about comps, we talk about like comparisons and data points. You know, an SGC 9.5 is one of these, like, it's in a different, you know, universe from even an 8 and definitely from a 7. It's not exactly, you know, move the needle, but what follows may. That make any sense?
It makes a ton of sense, man. I think how the 9.5 finishes. So what makes this a little bit interesting and a little speculative is we're recording this episode on a Saturday before Heritage auction closes, right? And I know when I'm bidding on weekly, I don't really want to bid up the price early. I'm going to kind of wait till the end and see what happens in extended bidding.
Yep.
This could end at 11. It could end at 20. Extended bidding is like overtime. You guys out there who have bet over-unders, you know you might have a good under until it goes to overtime. So same with this. You have a 9.5. If a 9.5 ends at 20 mil, the next 9 that sells is probably 13. And then an 8 might go to 3 and 4 mil.
I mean, anything is possible with it. What I'm hopeful of, just as we talk about it, is that it's going to set a record. It's going to be news. It's going to be newsworthy. And my hope is, like we talk about all the time, right? is that there's more people who come into the market. There's more money that comes into it, whether it's institutional money or retail money. Well, I'm hopeful that more money comes in, more people are involved, and that's good for the entire space. It's good for Fractional. It's good for, all the auction houses. It's good for all of the people who are in this before that new money comes in. No matter what, this thing is selling for a record price. Memorabilia-wise, same thing. Collectable has some interesting memorabilia, some one-off pieces. We saw, the, what happened with the Muhammad Ali belt. There's a Babe Ruth bat that's in the same heritage auction that's already, I think it's at $1.6 million, and it's not done yet. That will set a record. It already has. When it closes, it will be the record price ever paid for a game-used bat. So it will also, in addition to that mantle, it will also shine a light on the game-used memorabilia, the sneakers and the jock straps and whatever else is out there that Collectable has, these high-end, memorabilia pieces as well. People will not only see that a Mickey Mantle baseball card sold for a record price, but a Babe Ruth bat, a game-used bat, sold for a record price for a game-used bat. So interesting to watch. I love when these things happen. It just sets new high marks. It sets another target for somebody else. Who knows if now a higher-end Honus Wagner card doesn't come out of the woodworks and somebody tries to sell that and try to set another record as well. So it's, it's a fun time. It definitely is. And you get the, combination of that, and you get the sports starting up again. Josh Allen starts a fun tear, and all of a sudden everybody's going for his cards. It's, a lot of different ways to play it. I will tell you from our standpoint, I'm sticking around with, some of the cards that we purchased, some of the cards that we have in, the Clementes, the Hank Aaron's, those kind of things, because, right now the liquidity, the way that it is, I'm looking for stuff that if I have to, I'm fine holding for a little bit of time. I don't see them having, downward moves the same way something a little more modern might.
I love it. It's a little bit of a shorter episode here because there's not a ton of IPOs and not a lot of new stuff.
Nope.
I imagine as we head into the final 4 months of 2022, we'll get a lot more clarity and direction on how the card market's going. Will there be more IPOs? Will there be buyouts? Right? Increase the supply on Collectable. I would say comparatively to the bull market, right now, supply on Collectible is very small. There's been a lot of buyouts, and there hasn't been a lot of IPOs in the last 12 to 18 months. So it's interesting, right? Like, there's not as many. There's only one Tatum card, for example. There's probably a little bit less LeBrons. There's not as many Mahomes. So now investors have less to choose from, and will that impact prices? We will find out. Any final words, Cage?
Yeah, I mean, listen, one of the items in our portfolio is a LeBron. If there's one thing, not just what we're trading off, there's one thing I would tell you to look at, guys, if you're, looking to get in on anything in Collectable or anywhere else, it's try to find something that hasn't come up for sale 14 times in the last, 12 months and it's not coming up for sale. Look at Golden's preview, look at the auctions that are coming down the pike. Try to find something that is not being sold every month, because when subs is sold every month, there are easy comps for it. There are easy numbers on it. And also the price tends to kind of be on the lower side because you're seeing it all the time. It's not rare. It's not scarce. The items that do well on a Fractional are things that aren't for sale. It's part of the reason why the LeBron that I picked was that, the Essential, right? The Essential Credentials one, the one that's out of 102. I don't remember the last time I saw one of those sell. Who knows when the next time will be. And when next time one comes up, because it hasn't come up for a while, you might get a couple, 3-4 people bidding for it because they want to add that into their LeBron collection. Those are the type of items I like to try to be in. Just kind of, the overall one to take it home. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
Nation. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo Mai. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days. have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.